Listen up, everyone. A woman who always spends time alone is very dangerous. A woman who always spends time alone is not lonely, she is powerful. Society often misinterprets solitude as a weakness, as if a woman without a crowd around her must be missing something. But that couldn't be further from the truth. A woman who chooses to be alone is a woman who chooses herself. She is not looking for distractions, for validation, or for approval. She has learned the rarest and most valuable skill of all, the ability to be at peace with her own thoughts, her own company, and her own journey. This kind of woman is dangerous, not in the way the world fears, but in the way that disrupts the status quo. She is dangerous because she cannot be controlled by empty words, false promises, or fleeting emotions. She does not seek validation from others because she has already validated herself. She does not chase attention because she is already focused on something far greater, her growth, her purpose, and her vision for the future. While others seek constant noise to avoid their own insecurities, she embraces the silence because she knows that clarity is born in stillness. She has mastered the art of solitude, and in doing so, she has unlocked a level of strength that most people will never understand. When a woman learns to enjoy her own company, she becomes unshakable. She is not afraid of being alone because she does not fear herself. She does not rely on others to entertain her, to reassure her, or to make her feel complete. She is whole on her own. And when a woman reaches this level of self-sufficiency, she becomes impossible to manipulate. She does not fall for empty flattery. She does not lower her standards for momentary pleasure. She does not compromise her values just to fit into someone else's idea of who she should be. Because she has spent time alone, she knows exactly what she wants, and more importantly, she knows what she will never tolerate. This is what makes her dangerous. She cannot be swayed by pressure, by loneliness, or by fear. She has faced all of those things and conquered them in the silence of her own presence. A woman who spends time alone is a thinker, a dreamer, a strategist. She has used her solitude to understand herself, to break free from old patterns, and to build a life that aligns with her true values. She does not seek relationships out of desperation, but out of choice. She does not tolerate disrespect because she has built too much respect for herself. She does not settle for less because she knows her worth and refuses to accept anything that does not match it. She is a force of nature. She walks into rooms with quiet confidence, not because she needs to prove anything, but because she is already secure in who she is. She does not need to be the loudest voice in the room because her presence alone speaks volumes. She observes, she listens, she understands. And when she does speak, people listen, not because she demands attention, but because she has something valuable to say. Her strength is not in her ability to dominate others, but in her ability to remain unwavering in who she is. She does not engage in unnecessary drama. She does not waste time trying to please people who do not matter. She has mastered the art of prioritization. Her energy goes where it is valued, not where it is drained. She protects her peace at all costs because she knows that peace is the foundation of her power. The world often underestimates a woman who enjoys her own company, but that is their mistake. They do not realize that this woman is not running away from the world. She is preparing to change it. She is using her solitude to build, to plan, to evolve. And when she finally steps forward, she will not be asking for permission. She will not be waiting for approval. She will walk with the kind of certainty that only comes from deep self-awareness. A woman who spends time alone is not weak. She is not waiting, and she is not searching. She is creating, growing, and becoming, and that makes her unstoppable. A woman who spends time alone is a woman who has discovered the rarest kind of freedom. Freedom from expectations, from societal pressure, from the need to constantly explain herself. She is not bound by the opinions of others, nor does she seek their validation. While the world tells women they must always be surrounded by others to be happy, she defies that expectation and chooses solitude instead. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. And that choice makes her powerful beyond measure. She understands something that many people spend a lifetime trying to grasp. The person who knows themselves the best cannot be controlled by anyone else. She has spent hours, days, even years in her own company, facing her fears, healing her wounds, and learning to love herself fully. There is nothing more dangerous than a person who does not fear their own mind, who is not afraid of silence, who does not need external distractions to feel complete. This woman has learned that solitude is not loneliness, it is preparation. It is in those quiet moments that she becomes stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. She builds a life based on her own desires, not on what others expect from her. She moves at her own pace, unbothered by the rush of the world around her. She does not seek relationships out of boredom or insecurity. She seeks them out of choice, knowing that anyone who enters her life must add to it, not diminish it. People often mistake her independence for coldness. They assume that because she enjoys her own company, she does not need or want connection. But they misunderstand her. She values connection deeply. So deeply that she refuses to settle for anything less than real, meaningful relationships. She does not waste time with people who drain her energy, who bring unnecessary drama, or who do not align with her vision for her life. She has spent too much time cultivating her own peace to let anyone disrupt it. She is a woman who listens more than she speaks. She observes before she reacts. She understands that power is not in loudness, but in presence. She walks into a room and people feel her energy before she even says a word. This is the kind of woman who does not need to announce her strength. It radiates from within. She is comfortable in her own skin, unapologetic about who she is, and unshaken by the judgments of others. Many people will try to figure her out, to dissect her silence, to analyze why she does not crave the same constant validation that so many others do. But they will never truly understand her because she does not need to be understood by everyone. She is not seeking to fit in. She is not chasing approval. She is building a life on her own terms, and that makes her unpredictable, untouchable, and unstoppable. A woman who is comfortable in solitude is not easy to manipulate. She does not fear walking away. She does not fear losing people who do not align with her values. She has walked alone before, and she is not afraid to do it again. She understands that being alone is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people. She chooses quality over quantity in all aspects of her life, her relationships, her time, her energy. She is dangerous because she cannot be bought with empty compliments or convinced to lower her standards. She has already spent time understanding her worth, and she will not accept anything less than what she deserves. She does not fall for words. She watches actions. She does not entertain inconsistency. She values stability. She does not chase. She attracts. And that is what makes her different from the rest. This woman does not fear change. She embraces it. She knows that growth comes from discomfort, that transformation requires solitude, and that greatness is built in the moments when no one is watching. While others are busy seeking distractions, she is busy becoming the best version of herself. She is learning, evolving, creating. She is crafting a future that aligns with her vision, not anyone else's expectations. When she speaks with purpose. She does not waste words. She does not engage in meaningless conversations or gossip. She values her time too much for that. Instead, she speaks to inspire, to uplift, to bring wisdom into every interaction. And because she does not speak just to fill the silence, people listen when she does. Her words carry weight, her presence commands respect, and her silence is often louder than any noise. The world does not always know what to do with a woman like this. She does not fit into the mold. She does not play by the rules that society has set for her. She is not waiting for permission to live the life she wants. She is not asking for approval. She is simply being fully, unapologetically, and powerfully. And that is what makes her unstoppable. A woman who embraces solitude is a woman who has met herself in the deepest way possible. She has walked through the fire of self-reflection, sat in the silence of her own thoughts, and come out stronger than ever before. She does not run from herself, from her emotions, or from the truth. She faces them head on. She has learned to sit with her pain, to grow from her wounds, and to rise from her struggles with even more wisdom and strength. She is not afraid of being alone, because in solitude she has found her greatest ally, herself. People often underestimate her because she does not seek attention, approval, or validation, but they don't realize that she doesn't need any of those things to feel complete. She has already validated herself. She does not require constant reassurance because she has built an unshakable foundation of self-trust. She does not fear the opinions of others because she knows they do not define her. She has become her own source of confidence, her own source of strength, her own source of happiness. And that is what makes her truly dangerous in a world that thrives on insecurity. She has learned the difference between being alone and being lonely. She understands that loneliness comes from seeking fulfillment outside of oneself, while solitude is about discovering fulfillment within. While others are constantly searching for something or someone to make them feel whole, she has already done the work to realize that she is already whole. She has spent time with her thoughts, her dreams, her fears, and her ambition. She has explored the depths of who she is, and in doing so, she has gained a level of self-awareness that most people never reach. She does not fear losing people because she knows that anyone who is meant to be in her life will stay, and anyone who leaves was never truly aligned with her purpose. She does not beg for love, friendship, or validation because she understands that true connection cannot be forced. She values her energy too much to waste it on those who do not appreciate it. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her, and she has no problem closing the door on relationships that no longer serve her growth. She moves with intention, with clarity, with a quiet but powerful confidence. She does not need to be the loudest person in the room to be heard. She does not need to prove her worth to anyone because she already knows it. She does not engage in petty arguments or meaningless drama because she sees beyond the surface. She understands that true power lies in control. Control over her emotions, control over her actions, control over her own destiny. People often wonder why she does not crave the same things they do, why she does not feel the need to constantly be surrounded by others, why she does not chase after relationships, why she seems so content in her own presence. But they do not realize that she has found something far more valuable than fleeting connections or surface-level interactions. She has found herself. She has built a relationship with her mind, her soul, her purpose, and because of that, she walks through life with a level of peace and certainty that few can match. She is selective with her time, her energy, and her emotions. She does not waste her breath on things that do not matter. She does not allow negativity to disrupt her peace. She does not lower her standards for the sake of convenience. She has worked too hard to build herself up to let anything or anyone bring her down. She understands that her time alone is not wasted, it is invested. Every moment she spends in solitude is a moment spent strengthening her mind, deepening her understanding of herself, and sharpening her vision for her life. People often try to understand her to figure out what makes her different. They are intrigued by her independence, her discipline, her ability to stand firm in who she is, but they do not realize that the secret is simple. She has chosen herself. She has chosen to be her own best friend, her own protector, her own guide. She does not need someone else to complete her because she is already whole. And when a woman reaches this level of self-mastery, she becomes unstoppable. She does not fear the unknown because she trusts herself to handle whatever comes her way. She does not rely on others to give her direction because she has already created her own path. She does not allow society's expectations to define her worth because she has built her own definition of success. She does not seek permission to live the way she wants. She simply does it. The world often expects women to be dependent, to be accommodating, to be constantly giving of themselves. But this woman knows that her power lies in balance. She gives, but she also protects. She loves, but she also has boundaries. She supports others, but she never forgets to support herself first. She understands that in order to be truly strong, she must first be strong for herself. People may try to label her cold, distant, unapproachable, but the truth is, she is focused. She is intentional. She is unstoppable. She has built a world where she does not need to chase after anyone because the right people will always find her. She does not need to explain herself because her actions speak louder than words. She does not need to seek external validation because she has already validated herself. A woman who spends time alone is a woman who is preparing for something bigger than the world can see. She is not isolated, she is strategizing. She is not antisocial, she is focused. She is not lost. She is becoming. And when she finally steps forward, she will not do so hesitantly. She will not ask for permission. She will not wait for approval. She will move with the certainty, the power, and the confidence of a woman who knows exactly who she is. And that is what makes her dangerous. A woman who spends time alone is not withdrawing from the world. She is mastering herself. She is fine-tuning her instincts, strengthening her mindset, and sharpening her vision. In a world that constantly demands attention, approval, and external validation, she has chosen a different path, self-mastery. She is not distracted by the noise of the world because she understands that true power is cultivated in silence. She does not seek to impress others because she has already impressed herself with her own resilience, discipline, and unwavering self-belief. She understands the value of her energy. She does not give it away freely. She does not waste her time on people who do not appreciate her presence, nor does she engage in conversations that drain her spirit. Every interaction she has is intentional. Every relationship she invests in serves a purpose. She does not allow herself to be consumed by superficial connections or temporary emotions. Instead, she builds meaningful, lasting bonds with those who respect her boundaries and match her level of depth. She is not waiting for someone to save her. She is not hoping for external circumstances to change her life. She knows that she is responsible for her own happiness, success, and fulfillment. She does not place her dreams in the hands of others. She does not wait for permission to pursue her